For the week ending on June 26, Philadelphia had a total record of 5-4-1, with the Phillies going 3-4, getting swept by the Marlins and then winning a series against the Mets. The Soul winning their one game 42-35, the Fusion winning their one match 3-2, and the Union tying their only match this week 1-1. So much to talk about as always, so please sit down and enjoy the ride here on the Orange Line.
He had high hopes. He had high hopes.
Clap your hands, everybody, for Philadelphia 76.
So welcome back here to the Orange Line, your weekly source of Philly sports. I'm your host, as always, Dr. PhD, here to break down all of the moments and news from the NHL, the MLB, the NBA, the NFL, the NLL, the AFL, the OWL, and the MLS. And as we always go through this, it's always where we left off last week, then working our way from the least amount of news to the most amount of news. So, as we always say, let's get right into it. Starting with the Philadelphia Flyers, once again, another crazy kind of hectic week, I guess. Friday, things really kicked off. On the 21st, the Flyers announced their home opener, which isn't really the biggest piece of news coming out of the week, but it's still something that's kind of important. I mean, I know I'm going to want to go and, get tickets to that. I'm really excited, especially the fact that we're playing against the Devils. That's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be on October 9th, by the way. And just a little bit after that, they released the full schedule for the Philadelphia Flyers, which is a good thing indeed. And then on Saturday, the 2019 NHL draft happened, which is pretty good. It seemed like we got a good haul of players. I mean, I think we got 7 of them, in fact, which ended up just happening just because of a whole bunch of trades. I think there was a trade of 14 and like 35 or whatever for 10 or something. I don't know. We traded around a whole bunch of different picks to get some of our picks. Which the only 2 that really kind of jumped out at me were Cam York. He was the person that we got in the first round, who is a defenseman. Seems like a smart move considering the fact that we had such a overhaul of young defensemen that are going to be part of this team, and it's good to kind of re-up on that just because all of our top defensive prospects are now finally up playing for the Flyers. So it's good to kind of plant the seeds a little bit there. I know I said I don't care a lot about draft picks, but admittedly they are a nice thing to have. The other pick that I know we took out of the NHL draft was Bobby Brink, who wins the award for the coolest name picked in the draft. Well, actually, no. I think Capo Caco might have a cooler name than Bobby Brink, but that's still a pretty sweet name. He's a right winger, which is another good thing. I like the fact that we can sometimes pick up some of these, winging offensive kind of guys who can potentially give us some firepower later on. But like I said, I really only care about who is playing for the Flyers. Did hear that he's supposed to be like a top tier kind of talent. I was gonna say a 1%er, but more like just a first round talent, which is a good thing. It kind of makes us feel like we got a steal for that. But then the news rolled on, as it does, into Monday, where the Flyers ended up re-signing Travis Sanheim, which is pretty cool. He's back for 2 more years, I think for like 3-point-something, whatever, million. I don't care about those numbers either, just as long as he plays well. But he's a kid that I know can absolutely do that. I have a lot of faith in him, and I think it's a pretty good deal. It's good to keep these young Ds. I need these young Ds in my life because they're the foundation of what this team is going to be going forward, at least in my opinion. But that wasn't it for Monday. There was also a trade. We saw Ryan Hartman go away to Dallas for center Tyler Pitlick, I believe it is. Yeah, Pitlick, which is cool. It's another guy that I don't really know, but I saw a lot of people saying that we flipped Hartman, which is good. It seems like we're kind of walking away as winners, but necessarily I don't know too much. On Wednesday, the Flyers also re-signed Moose. Brian Elliott is going to be back for another year, which I am 100% fine with, just considering the fact that we pretty much have Hart as our number one, and I don't know. I think this can be a really good thing for us going forward. And that ends up wrapping up everything for the Flyers. So moving on ahead, we are going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Since they kind of drew the short straw this week, they didn't have too much going on for them. On Thursday, I was reminded that the Eagles are going to be playing, not playing, but having a few practices with the Baltimore Ravens, which is fun. The only reason I say reminded is because that news came out in March, I believe on the 26th, but it wasn't really pertinent to me now, and now it is. So that's pretty fun. I think the last time that they had a team at their practices before the season was in 2017. I wonder how that season worked out. Anyway, things did continue, though. On Monday, there was an article released. It was really nice. It was about Brandon Graham and his comeback from the injury that he suffered in 2017, and that's just going to be good to have him back. It's pretty endearing, once again, to have him back. I mean, we lost Chris Long, so we've lost a sizable name on defense, but realistically, now we're getting another one back full-time. He's ready to play. He's had a good offseason, and that is all things that I like to see. But that is indeed all that we have for the Philadelphia Eagles. Going on ahead, it is going to be the Philadelphia Wings, however. They did have a bit of news this week, which was... It wasn't even news. It was a tweet. The NLL tweeted out every team's list of 11 players that they're going to be protecting going into this expansion draft, which is something I've been waiting for. I really want to see who the NLL are, who they're going to be keeping, and especially the Wings, because they're our team. And if you are also curious of who these players are, I will read them off right now. Trevor Baptiste, Steph Chaberdeau, Kevin Crowley, Josh Courier, Brett Hickey, Anthony Joaquin, Kyle Matisse, Liam Patton, Blaze Reardon, Ryan Wagner, and of course our boy, Matt Rambo. I pretty much agree with all of these picks. The one that I saw, actually the two that I saw was Travis Konechny, I think the guy's name is, and Jordan Hall. They were two players that I saw a whole lot of when I went down to some of the Wings games, and they just seem to be two pretty decent talents, but I'm not surprised by most of this list. Absolutely, we have to keep Trevor Baptiste. Absolutely, you have to keep Matt Rambo and Kevin Crowley and Kyle Matisse, and you're not going to not protect Josh Courier, and I don't know. It all makes sense to me. So good job to the Philadelphia Wings for, continuing hopefully an upward trend for this team. I think the sky's the limit for them. We can get to the Cup next year, I hope. It all depends on how things shake out in this expansion draft, but I hope things go well. That is all for the Philadelphia Wings, though, so we are going to have to go ahead and move right on in to the Philadelphia 76ers. They also had a draft this week, just like the Flyers did. And and that one was actually on Friday. And just once again, because of some trades, the Sixers drafted 20th overall Matisse Thybulle, which seems like it's going to be a good fit. From what I hear, he's a really good defensive player, which is what Elton Brand was looking for, so that's very good. I like having defense, and especially if that works into the plan that Elton Brand and the Sixers organization has for the team, then I can't really be too upset about that, which is great. Also, I did hear that he's not much of a shooter, which I don't think that we need, especially pending some of the moves that can be happening in the offseason. And are there plenty of moves that can happen in the offseason. The league can be busted wide open right now with some of the people that are out there that can, potentially go to the Lakers or, could go to Boston or the Sixers or any of these other teams. It's honestly kind of crazy right now, and I think depending on how things shake out for the Sixers, I think things could be pretty good for us. But I do think that Matisse Thybulle is a good addition to the team. Good job, Elton. Also, he has probably the most Philly name possible. I just like to think like, oh, you hear about that player that the Sixers just brought up? Nah, what's the guy's name? I don't know. He's like some kind of like thigh ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he's just like that's his nickname because he's got like big thighs or something. But like, I'm all about this thigh ball if they are. I don't know. That's my simulation of a conversation. It wasn't good, but we'll forget about it. We'll keep going. More news happened on Tuesday. The NBA announced the 2019 Summer League schedule, which is good. Some of the matchups are pretty decent, and that all starts not next week, not like the next week that I'm going to be talking about, but the week after that. Everything starts up July 5th for the 76ers. So that's going to be fun. But now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of everything, the teams that are currently in season, and this one is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies. They did not have a great week this week, and to only describe it, you got to start from the beginning, obviously. They had one game to finish off the dreadful series against Washington, where two of the games got rained out, had to play a doubleheader, then played a game the very next day. Obviously, people are going to be tired, and we walk away with an L on that one. Not the look we were looking for. But we thought, hey, maybe we're going to go into CBP. We're going to come back into the city. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a good time. Things started off pretty cool with the Chase Utley retirement night. Got to see a whole bunch of his great moments, some of his old teammates, relive some of the things that the man has done for this great Philadelphia organization. And also Mac finally got his catch with Chase Utley, which is great. I hope that makes it into the show. That would be pretty sweet. But yeah, it was all around a pretty decent start. So we thought, until we ended up getting swept by the Marlins. Not a good look for us, by the way. It was our 7th straight loss, and it could have been avoidable. It could have been avoidable from the very beginning because Aaron Nola pitched a great game, only gave up 1 earned run, ended up giving up 2 runs because of some errors. But like, it's so frustrating when the pitching just is not syncing up with the hitting, and the bats just have not been doing anything to this point, and it's been so frustrating, and it continued all the way through to the very end of the Florida series. Just we had too many chances of getting people around the bases, going from scoring position, and nothing really showed up. The bats just weren't there, and that's been my main frustration. This team is too good on the offensive side of the ball to not be putting up points the way that they should. Points, runs. And so it was just really annoying to see the bats slump until this series against the New York Mets. It has been complete switch of everything. The bamboo, the good wood, is finally in play for the Philadelphia Phillies, and it seems to be working. I'm also a little shaky on the whole bamboo thing. I heard it was a Jay Bruce thing, and then I heard it was a Miller thing, and I don't really know where it came from, but I'm pretty stoked about it because it's obviously working. We're on our way to sweep the Mets, and honestly, if you're seeing this and realizing it's nighttime, yeah, we did end up getting the full sweep in the Mets, which is fantastic. Hopefully that spark from the beginning of the season is back, and the Phillies can start playing ball the way I know that they can. It's just been frustrating recently. I'm not a fan of it. But that is all for the Philadelphia Phillies. So let's start talking about the Union. They've come back after about 2 weeks of not playing, and it wasn't the best return, but that was later in the week. So as we usually do, let's start from the beginning. On Thursday, they ended up getting a new teammate. That's going to be Andrew Wooten from SV Sandhausen, which is a Bundesliga 2 team, which I assume is just one of the lesser Bundesliga teams. But he scored 100. He scored 17 goals in 31 games, and in his last 18 appearances, he actually had 13 goals. So he's on the upward trend, which is cool. And it just adds more scoring depth to the Beast in the East, which is something that I am very excited about, considering the fact that we can be so good offensively already. Things then rolled into Monday, where Andre Blake was given the honor of being announced to the 2019 MLS All-Star team, which is great. It's going to be his second appearance on the All-Star team, the first one for the Union to appear more than once in an All-Star game, which is going to be great. He's also playing for Jamaica in the CONCACAF, which is pretty cool, except he's playing Team USA, so I'm going to have mixed opinions about that. But then we ended up finally making our way to Wednesday, where they played against the New England Revolution. And while we were continuing to be able to dominate with the ball at our feet, it seems like every time we didn't, and they could just walk right into the defensive zone. They seemed to not have a beat on us, but it's just been annoying because of the fact that our defense is so poor. I'm sorry if you can hear noises in the background, by the way. I think someone sent off fireworks. This is not a fun time, considering the fact that I expected more out of this team. Hopefully it's just a little bit of rust. They just got to shake it off a little bit. They've been relaxing. They've been chilling. They've been practicing. And, there's just a little bit of ring rust there. So hopefully they can brush that off and go right back into their dominant ways. But I do know that the New England Revolution have been getting a lot better recently. I heard that they were on an unbeaten streak, which is good for us considering the fact that we were able to get them to a draw. That's what I'll get from that. That's how I'll walk away from that going, ha, we got you, Boston. Because, as you know, I always have to get that in there. But that's it for the Union, going to keep rolling ahead. And that's going to be with the Soul. Of course it is. They have been doing pretty great as of late. They had that little skid in the middle of the season, but now things are really getting into the nitty and the gritty. Only 4 games left at this point, and every game is important. Like I said last week, it is going to be very important to get these wins, and that's exactly what they did on Saturday. They were able to walk away with a 42-35 win, and I don't know, what can I say? We're getting that momentum, and in sports, momentum is a very big thing, my friends. If you are just riding that streak, that wave all the way to the top, then you're getting to the top, and that's absolutely what you want to do. So it's good to have that momentum, good to have that big win, especially going into next week against the team that we're going to be playing against, which I will get to. But now, at this point, they only need one win, and they are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, so they just can't lose out. They just need one win. This is going to be great. I would love to have 3 wins. We do have a bye week, so 4 weeks left. Need one win. Would love to get 3 more. But this win came off of, once again, strong defense. The thing that I've been harping on all season is that their defense has not been great. But this was another one of those cases where I kind of bit my tongue because the defense was awesome. They had 3 huge interceptions. There was a 4th and goal with 4 minutes left in the game. They were able to stop that with an interception, which is fantastic. Plus, Dan Radaball is insane as always. 227 yards, 4 touchdowns. I believe 2 of which go to B.J. Bunn with a career high of 116 yards, which is awesome. Good for him. But yeah, I really hope that we can keep riding this wave because this team has the ability to be the best team in the league that we know and love. 2016, 2017, those are proof. Back-to-back champions. We can do it again. We just got to get there. Also on Tuesday, James Romaine was awarded his 3rd AFL Defensive Player of the Week. He had 2 of the 3 interceptions and actually leads the league in interceptions, which is even better. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for playing on our team, James. I really appreciate it. But as far as Soul news goes, that's kind of where we end it all. And that brings us to the final team of the week. That's going to be the Philadelphia Fusion, your favorite Overwatch League team, part of the most exciting league that's currently going on right now. It's one of the most fun leagues to watch, and I've said that from day one. I'll continue to say that. But going into the week, Overwatch League wrote an article about Carpe, who is one of the best players on our team. He's probably the focus on our team as well. And they ended up focusing on the mentality of, how he has come to be and where he's come from. I know at a very young age, he ended up coming over to the United States to be able to play video games professionally. And he had to learn a whole new language as he is South Korean and only knew Korean at that point. So the fact that he's able to overcome all that and is really just determined to win is a great sign. That's something that I love. And the other thing that I like is he believes that any team in Overwatch League can win. They just got to play their game the right way. They have to get their ult economy down. They have to be able to get the right plays going, get the right comps going, and so I think that's a very endearing piece that ends up looking into the mind of Garpe. He does wish that he could play DPS more, he did say in the article, but he's got to play what he's got to play, and the meta is what the meta is. But he's really just focused on getting to that high level of play that we know he can be at, and getting himself and the Philadelphia Fusion to the grand finals, which is going to be held in Philadelphia this year, September 29th. Buy your tickets. It's going to be at Wells Fargo. But that is why we had what we had on Saturday. It was a match. It was going to be, not even going to be, it was against the Atlanta Reign, a rematch from week 1, one thing that I talked about last week on my Dr. PhD picks of the week. It was good to see where they had come, and it was even better because it was a game, it was a match that I was not expecting. It was so back and forth. It was thrilling. It was awesome. There was a whole lot of composition changes, a whole lot of Sombra, a whole lot of Widowmaker for Carpe. I know he was very happy about that, and it seems like that's what a lot of the future is going to be for Overwatch League is a new meta shift and getting more DPS out there, which will be great for Carpe and especially for our team. But this match was insane. It was actually so good that after the match was over, someone that I know, someone personal, so I'm not going to name names, but they ended up calling me, and they were so excited and they were very intoxicated. And they called me, and they were like, "Oh my god, dude, did you watch the match? Because that was insane." Like, I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy with like the fusion and how they're playing. And I'm like really happy that the meta is like changing. And I'm just like really happy. And I was like, that's awesome, because I'm happy too, because that proves that one of my picks is right once again. I know I faltered a little bit last week on the Union call, but hey, we didn't get a loss. That's a good thing. I did say we were going to stomp them again, but that's just because I want to stomp New England every time we play them. That is it for all of the news in the sports world this week. So I guess what we can do is start talking about the schedules for next week, talk about what's going to come up. Starting with the Phillies, they have, they had one game on Thursday against the New York Mets, in which they ended up winning. If you're listening to this later, spoiler alert. And that moves us into another series against Florida. That's going to be Friday through Sunday at Florida this time. And then after that, it's going to be a one-day break. We get Monday off. That'll be nice. Get time to relax. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we start a series against the Atlanta Braves. So we get to go back there and see what we can do against them. The Soul have one game this week. I said it was going to be a big one, and it absolutely is. It's going to be against the Albany Empire, who are currently the best team in the AFL. I believe they have a record of 8-1. So it'll be really good to be able to get this final win against them, especially, halt some momentum that they have, give all of that to us, and then carry that in to the weeks ahead. So that's going to be one to look forward to. The Fusion also have one match this week. It's going to be against Boston again. So that's going to be great. I love it when we get chances to beat up on Boston. We were able to get a win last time that we played them, and I'm hoping we can do the same this time. Union also have two games this week. They are both going to be away. On Saturday the 29th, it's going to be against New York City FC. And on Wednesday, it's going to be against Orlando, I think. I don't know. I wrote the acronym, but I can't remember what it is. So maybe it's Oklahoma City. I really have no idea. Either way, those are two games to look forward to from the Beast in the East. And that leads us all the way to the final bit of the Orange Line. It's my favorite part. I hope it's yours. It's the Dr. PhD picks of the week. We're going to start it off this week with the Phillies. They are hot right now, and hopefully they can continue that heat in the hot, marshlands of Florida. And they need that salty run back. They need to go back there and say, hey, you can't come into our yard and disrespect us like that, guys. So now we're going to have to stomp on you in your yard, your dumb-looking yard with all the weird dolphins and stuff happening in the background. I secretly love that yard. But, we want that salty run back. We are a little annoyed right now, so let's play the Marlins again. Let's beat them up. The bats need to keep things going. That's the main factor. The bats need to keep this momentum, and they need to keep everything going. For the second pick of the week, it's going to be the Soul against the Albany Impact. I know that's going to be a tough task to handle, but I do believe that we have one of the best offenses in the league, and now that our defense is really heating up, really getting stabilized, I guess, I'm hoping that they can make a big splash against Albany this week. I'm being really, really optimistic about this one, but I think that regardless, we're going to end up getting another win, getting us into the playoffs, and if we're able to get this win against Albany, it can rocket us to a very, very, very advantageous position, so let's go for it. And the third pick of the week, I always try to make this one a little bit of an oddball one. It's going to be the Abington native David Starr. He's going to be wrestling for a world championship. If you did not know, on Saturday, June 29th, Defiant Wrestling is going to be holding a pay-per-view event, which I believe is called Lights Out. And David Starr is going to be facing the Defiant world champion Rampage Brown. He earned this opportunity by winning the No Regrets Rumble, a 30-man Rumble, beating all 29 other opponents to be able to get this opportunity at the Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be a good one. It's an Abington native, so it's very close to my heart, and it's on my birthday. I was going to say the other thing is all of these are happening on my birthday, so those are fun things to happen this week on the 29th. It's going to be a fun Saturday. I hope you have a good week. I'm planning on having a good week. It all ends with 4th of July, so that's a fun thing to look forward to. Also, I should mention that I will not be doing an Orange Line on the 4th, so everything for next week is going to be all the way up to the 4th, and I will release that on Friday. So with all that being said, thank you for joining me here on the Orange Line. I have been Dr. PhD. If you would like to follow me on social media, that's going to be at Dr. PhD, DoctorPhD. If you want to, you can follow the podcast, which is going to be at Orange Line Pod, spelled exactly the way you would think. You can also go on Facebook and find the Orange Line Podcast, where I just, I pretty much post things that are relevant to some highlights, some news stories that are Philadelphia sports related, and I am working on those daily posts. They are coming. Other than that, I hope you have a great week. I've already said that. This is always my rambling bit, but I am very much looking forward to it. I hope you are as well. So with that being said, go Philly sports. Have a great one.